Today we're going to get some practice generating terms of a sequence written in an explicit form. What an explicit formula is really a formula that designates the nth term of a sequence. So if I give you a formula that represents a sequence, let's say t sub n equals negative 2n plus 1. Let's say that this is our formula to represent some kind of sequence. It's an explicit formula. And the reason I know it's an explicit formula is really I have one equation involved. If I want to generate the terms of this sequence written explicitly, all you have to do is really sub in whatever term you're looking for. So for example, if I wanted to find the first term of the sequence, we would notate it as t sub 1. All we need to do is really sub in 1 in for n, so we replace n with 1 and simplify. If we do our math right, we get negative 2 plus 1, which becomes negative 1. So I know that the very first term of this sequence is negative 1. So if I wanted to find, let's say, the 20th term of this same sequence, all I need to do is sub in 20 in for n, which in this case would be negative 2 times 20. So you're substituting 20 in for n. And if we simplify, we get negative 40 plus 1, we get an answer of negative 39. So the 20th term of this sequence would be negative 39. So let's take a look at two more examples here before you try some on your own. It says find the first 5 terms of the sequence below written in explicit form. So if I want to find the first 5 terms, I would want to find the first term, second term, all the way to the 5th term. So if I wanted to find the first term of the sequence, again, we would just sub in 1 for n, simplify, and we get 1 being the first term of the sequence. If I wanted to find the second term, sub in 2 for n, and what we'll get is, looks like 4. To find the third term, we'd sub in 3, and we get 7. And notice at this stage, you can kind of notice a pattern. It looks like we're increasing by 3 every time, but let's just make sure. If I want to find the fourth term, sub in 4, we get 10. If I wanted to find the 5th term, we would sub in 5 for n, and we get an answer of, looks like 15, whoops. Looks like we get 15 minus 3, 2 gives us 13. So the first 5 terms of the sequence would be 1, 4, 7, 10, and 13. In this other problem, we can set it up the similar way. So if I wanted to find the first term in the next sequence, written n squared minus 2n, I would sub in 1 in for n, so it would be 1 squared minus 2 times 1, and I get an answer of negative 1 for my first term. For the second term, similar process, 2 squared minus 2 times 2 gives us 0. For the third term, sub in 3, we get 3 squared minus 2 times 3, and if we simplify that, we get 9 minus 6, which becomes 3. And lastly, for the fourth and fifth term, similar process, we sub in 4 for n, we get 4 squared minus 2 times 4, in this case would be 16 minus 8, we get 8. And lastly, subbing in 5, and for our formula, we get an answer of, looks like 15 here. So again, the first 5 terms of this sequence then would be negative 1, 0, 3, 8, and 15. Last problem here, and then you guys can get on to practicing on the worksheet that we have. But it says find a sub 23, and remember from the previous video that means to find the 23rd term for each of the following sequences. So in the first one it's defined as 4n plus 2, and the second one it's defined as 5 minus parentheses 2n minus 1. So if I want to find the 23rd term, similar as the slide before, all we do is sub in 23 in for n. So for A, our answer would be sub in 23 wherever I see n, so it would be 4 times 23 plus 2. You can use your calculator on this, but 4 times 23 is 92, plus 2 gives me a total of 94. So that would be the 23rd term of this sequence. And lastly, to find the 23rd term of the last sequence, we get 5 minus 2 times 23 minus 1. Remember order of operations here, so we want to do the inside first. So 2 times 23, that's 46, minus 1 is 45. So we get 5 minus 45. A total answer of negative 40 would be our 23rd term of the second sequence. So I think you guys are ready to practice. Here's your worksheet today. So you just have to complete the worksheet before the end of the hour, and if you finish early, you can get a jump start on tonight's video, which is on the recursive formula. A little bit different, but we'll practice that tomorrow. Have a great day.